you're using this room is the way that I think a lot of us are, which is for multi-purpose, right? Mastering, but also creating, writing, and then being able to track and, I don't know, maybe cook or host parties or something.
That's in the galley.
Oh, in the galley, okay.
Right. And the smoker's lounge is way back there.
Oh, yeah.
I write and then I record my own stuff. And to pay for my recordings, I master other people's music. So the studio has to be two different things. It has to be like a tracking room so that you can cut songs. And it also has to have a really good sweet spot for mastering. And so what you see around us, the equipment-wise, is actually just two different systems. One's a mastering system and one is the one for recording. I knew I had to have some booths. I knew I had to have a drum room. I knew I had to have a vocal booth or percussion group. I knew I had to have a couple of places for amplifiers and my favorite Leslie. And luckily I have an office upstairs, so that's another booth. When we started ripping the old stuff down, we realized that there's concrete steps, like went from the office all the way down. So I went, oh, now I have to design something, it was actually a good deal. So I lopped 4 foot off the side and turned this part into a galley, turned this into an amp room, which we'll look at, and then a drum room, and then put the booth off the side. In a recording room, you want things to be somewhat symmetrical. So we've got the drums on one side and the booth on the other side. I've always been, since the early days, more into what was formerly known as live end, dead end room, where you deaden the front space and you then leave the live space so that the early reflections don't hit your ears milliseconds after the direct sound. So the sweet spot really is right here. So in my live end, dead end, we've got 4 inches of 703 or rock wool kind of rimming the whole area so that the B&W speakers can hit me right in the sweet spot, and I'm not hearing early reflections off the sides.
Yeah.
And then we had to put this cloud in so that things, could absorb up the top. My desk situation has to do with being able to master.
Yes.
So you don't want all kinds of stuff in front of you, in front of the speakers. So you want a clean line of sight and the least amount of obstruction between the speakers and my ears. And so I went with a design of a couple of lowboy racks and a monitor system, and I found this little desk on Craigslist for 50 bucks. Of course, everything else cost way more.
Yeah.
But to me, it works because I can sit in the sweet spot and I'm getting the 12-inch speakers as well as seeing the mids and the highs, and I pretty much have a clear to the back of my ears, because you want basically an equilateral triangle when you're mixing or mastering. And I've got the ability to deal with 2 different systems at a time. This is the mastering system. So everything is here and I can kind of like, work it and still be kind of within the sweet spot. Okay, so now I got mastering covered.
It's an interesting space because you said it's 24 feet long.
24.
You've got a lot of stuff in here. What, 5 booths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of?
Yeah.
Or 5, no, because the upstairs, right?
The upstairs, and we track in here at the same time. So we can get a 5-piece band happening. It's a small, tight spot, but it has room. I've got my original 1985 AKG 414s and a bunch of 57s just hanging out everywhere.
Yeah.
And we got an Audix D6 and a homemade sub kick on that. And it's the original 1967 Ludwig kit with a really wonderful Rogers snare. The original cymbals that came with the kit, and I've got the original kick drum Speed King pedal, but it doesn't really work that well. Yeah. It's okay if you're kind of playing light, like you could see on a Beach Boys record or something.
Yeah.
But probably Hal Blaine, who played on those records, didn't even use those. Very good sounding kit.
Ooh, yeah.
Homemade 2-foot square diffusers or absorbers in different thicknesses so that you're absorbing different frequencies. And then you just kind of like, okay, this one looks good that way. Okay, this one looks good this way. And you just like set them in. And then these guys are just 4 inches of 703. Here's a fun room. This has to do a whole bunch of things. What it is, it's the amp closet. Connor's got it wired up so that we can either go with 2 mics on one. We've got some Beyer 101s and a Beyer 69 and an RE20 for the bass. We really don't use that hardly at all.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll pull that and start using the RE20 on something else because we mostly go direct or a B15 plug-in.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So now the last booth that we're going to go see is the vocal booth. I do a lot of my vocals and acoustic guitar in here. And also we have our complete acoustic percussion department. I'm a slut for anything that makes noise and rattles, just little trinkets, little sparklies. And I also have been practicing yoga for about, I don't know, getting on 20 years now. And I've created instrumental albums of that kind of music. So I might take some loops or something, and then I'll add different parts, or maybe just this becomes the rhythm part, and then we do instrumental music as well. Also available at the Bandcamp site.
Link in the description.
Right. Exactly. And thank you for doing all that.
Yeah,
too.
of course.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip. If you're setting up your own studio and you have any questions about how to hook things up, what to plan for, what gear you are thinking about getting, how you want to go about it, you can schedule a call with me at andrewmastersmusic.com. It's a one-on-one, 1-hour consultation where you can ask me anything you want. The link is down in the description. Go schedule your call today. And if you're just chilling and you want to subscribe or watch another clip, click one of these 2 things.